Bailey, did the bye come at an inopportune time following 4 straight wins?
Yeah, it's probably a little bit earlier in the year than normal as well because we're the first bye. But yeah, it's always nice to have a break mid-season, get a few days off and away. So yeah, hopefully we can just keep the momentum up this week.
Has there been much talk about regathering that momentum? Is there a risk that you lose it by having a break?
I don't think so. We had a pretty solid session on Saturday, and the vibe's been. It's nice going into the bye off the back of a couple of wins because there is that positive vibe going through that little break. We've been back at the club for a week and a half now, so I don't think there's any risk of losing that momentum.
Have you had any tweaks or you've done anything differently to try and ensure that it remains when you come out Saturday night?
Not necessarily. I think like every game you've got to prepare for mentally, and it's a challenge. Nothing in AFL footy comes easily, so we're just preparing as a normal week this week, and hopefully we can come out and bring that same energy that we've brought the last few weeks.
What's the difference been like in the terms of the vibe from obviously the first sort of 6 weeks where it was a bit up and down, and then the last month, as you say, it's probably one of the informed teams in the competition?
Yeah, I think it's just confidence in the group and confidence in each other that you can trust the bloke next to you is going to be doing his job, which makes you that much more motivated to do yours and make sure that you're doing your bit for the team. And I think as Lions as well, we've got a lot more confidence in each other, that the mids are going to get the job done at the source, the forwards are going to create that contest in front of the ball, and the backs are going to snap up and make sure that ball stays inside our front half as well. So I think there's a lot more confidence that each cog is working and complementing each other, and that's been able to, and because of that we've been able to play full games of footy on our terms.
Lots of changes to that forward line throughout the first half of the year. It feels like it's really gelled now. What's been the biggest change that's helped you guys work it out?
I think it's been our pressure, our intent as a whole group to pressure and lock the ball in our front half has been really strong. And we've been working really well together. I think we've seen a lot of selfless handoffs, giving blokes goals in better positions, blocking for each other in marking contests to give JT, to give Jacko a free run and jump. So we've been able to really value that internally, I think, and we've been really loving that as well on the field. So that sort of just encourages you to keep going.
Had the 3 calls game, it's Tracy and Jacko down there. Now Sean's out, so Jacko will move up the field. How do you think it'll look different, and what do you need to do to adjust to whoever comes in and the changes that are made?
Yeah, well, I think we'll be a little bit smaller, I think. So we'll go back to the sort of 2 talls, and I might have to play a bit taller as well. So we've done that, and I've done that over my career. So not much will change, to be honest. We'll make sure we keep a contest, and the weather will probably play a factor in that as well, I think. If it's going to be a bit wet and a bit slippery, it's obviously harder for the keys, but we'll adjust to whatever happens.
Of all the weeks, this is a good one for the only 2 tall.
Oh, well, I'm sure we would have loved to have Shawnee dishing out the hit outs in the wet. He loves wet weather and he's always dominant. But yeah, I guess in terms of the forward line structure, yeah, this is probably the week to go a bit smaller.
You had a draw against Richmond last year. What sort of things do you need to do differently in order to try and get that win this time around?
Yeah, last year went down to the wire, and Freddie with the heads up play to come across and smother. That was pretty awesome. I think we just want to play out our four quarters of footy, and I think we've shown that our best can get the job done. So if we look after our own backyard, hopefully that should lend itself to a win.
And just on your own form there, mate, seem to have developed a good role for yourself this year in the forward line. How have you found your own form this year?
Yeah, I've been pretty happy. Been a bit more flexible, playing tall and small. Been able to bring my strengths to the table a bit more, I think, and it always helps getting a regular game and being backed in. I've been able to play 7, 8, 9 games in a row now, which definitely helps. So I'm just building my confidence, and hopefully I can keep that going through the back half of the year.
But in terms of coming off the bye, do you find physically you benefit from that week off, or sometimes is it easier to just keep rolling with the knocks and getting through with the grind?
Yeah, it sort of depends. I think some boys prefer the break and have a bit of time off and lets all the corkies and the bruises sort of subside. For me personally, I like to keep going, and when you get into the bye, the body can sort of just relax, and that's when you can get a bit crook, or a few different bits and pieces can pop up. So I prefer to keep going, but yeah, anytime you get a few days off middle of the year's never a bad thing.
Richmond played in Sydney last week, and now Perth back-to-back travel for a Melbourne team. It's pretty unheard of. Is that any advantage at all, albeit Sydney flight's only now?
Yeah, well, I think any time a team's coming over to Perth, that's an advantage for us. We love playing at Optus, and it's a long flight that they're not as used to as what the WA teams are. So, yeah, and it's probably not something they're used to back-to-back travel. So hopefully we can capitalise on that.
Michael Walters looks pretty good to line up alongside you on Saturday night as well.
Yeah, he looked really good at training the other day. So yeah, I'm sure he's ready to go and get the final tick-off from the medical staff. But yeah, we love having Sonny in the team, and off the back of an extension, he should kick a couple of goals as well, I reckon.
No team has a better record in the week after the bye than you guys over the last 10 years. Is there something you do specifically to have a good week after the bye?
No, nothing in particular, I don't think. No, not any secrets that I'm going to give away anyway. Yeah, I think I saw that stat, and I think a lot of it depends on where you play, who you play, and that sort of thing, and how the team's going as well. So I'm not sure there's too much to read into it there.